question 5. Debbie Ngarewa-Packer.
Tēnā koe te pika. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by all his government statements and actions?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Yes, especially our action to build the infrastructure that Kiwis need to get the country moving and our economy growing. That's why it was so positive last week to see the infrastructure pipeline continuing to grow, hitting almost $204 billion last quarter. We know that high inflation and interest rates have hit the construction sector hard in the last few years, and that's why we're so positive to see that it's more than $15 billion more than expected. It's going to be spent on infrastructure this year, with more than half of that going to transport. New Zealand won't get rich doing phantom projects like Auckland Light Rail or Let's Get Wellington Moving. We've got real projects that have an impact and get Kiwis growing and get the country moving.
Supplementary. Does he stand by his statement that if parents are unhappy with the government school lunches, they should, quote, go make a Marmite sandwich and put an apple in a bag, end quote?
Absolutely.
Supplementary. Does he believe that parents are sending their kids to school hungry because they are too lazy to make lunches or because they cannot afford to make their kids' lunches?
Some, yes.
Supplementary. How will the parents who have lost their jobs, who have had their benefits sanctioned, who have been thrown out of emergency housing, afford to, quote, go make a Marmite sandwich and put an apple in a bag for the kids who cannot eat the government's slop?
For those that are not provided with a lunch going to school, there is a school lunch program which has been extended, as I've said before, to many more kids. There's also a welfare system that's available to help people in need. We continue to support both those programs.
Sanction them.
Supplementary. Will his decision to cut the school lunch program make it easier or harder for children in low-income families who are already struggling to learn?
We haven't cut the school lunch program, we've increased it. We've funded it, which is what the last government didn't do.
You know the truth. That's not true. Supplementary.
Just enough, thank you.
Oh, my apologies through the Chair, through the
Withdraw and
Speaker.
apologise.
Thank you, I withdraw and apologise. Supplementary. What do you say to the 1 million people who can earn less than $30,000 and only get $2.15 tax cut per week, when a loaf of bread costs $4 and 250 grams of Marmite costs $5?
I'd say that that's why this government's working incredibly hard to grow the economy so that we can lift incomes, get people into more jobs, so they can have greater opportunity and more choices about how they get to live their lives.